This is CBC Here and Now.
Good evening, I'm Peter Cowan. It's been a big week for the aquaculture industry in Newfoundland and Labrador. There's a conference in St. John's and lots of talk about growth, but the event has been overshadowed by the deaths of hundreds of thousands of salmon on the south coast. Here now's Terry Roberts explains.
The Delta Hotel is swimming with aquaculture types this week, trying to bolster an industry that creates 400 direct jobs in rural communities desperate for an economic injection with a production value of $200 million. But a company's attempts to clean up thousands of dead fish in the coast of Bay's Fortune Bay area has reignited debate over this controversial industry. Salmon in open net pens like these, operated by Northern Harvest Sea Farms, began dying in large numbers earlier this month. The company blames unusually high water temperatures over nearly 2 weeks.
Temperature spikes are not abnormal, but for that length of time they are.
No viruses, no threat to human health. Sea lice not to blame, says the company. Still no clear picture yet on how many fish were lost.
We're not going to communicate a number until we know for sure.
Jason Card says the company is being transparent, and he took exception to a suggestion from FFAW President Keith Sullivan that it was hiding information about potential environmental impacts.
What was unfortunate was that the president of the FFAW went out and gave the impression that he didn't have information when we have been communicating on a regular basis.
The industry association says Sullivan was deceitful.
He lied. From what I can see in his release, he says that the company wasn't transparent. How much more transparent can you be? He has his own political problems, and he's using us as a political football. I suggest, Keith, go sort out your own backyard before you enter mine.
Sullivan was not available today, but the union is not backing down.
I think that it's meant as a distraction from the really major serious issue that has happened on the south coast. That's something that they need to grapple with, and calling names and taking shots at the union is doing nothing to improve their public image.
And coincidentally, the fisheries minister released new regulations today, forcing aquaculture companies to be more upfront.
What these regulations now do is they require public disclosure upon confirmation of events within 24 hours.
Meanwhile, the company plans to adapt and support its workers.
We are committed to Newfoundland and Labrador. We are committed to doing business here, but we have to act as though this temperature spike is not an isolated incident. We have to accept it as a new normal.
Terry Roberts, CBC News, St. John's.
And still with this story, another group is weighing in on the salmon deaths off the south coast. The company responsible says that unusually warm water is to blame, but the Newfoundland and Labrador Coalition for Aquaculture Reform wants to see some proof.
We should hear from the provincial veterinarians. We should hear from the federal and provincial regulators. You know, if there is evidence there that we've had warmer temperatures than normal and that they are indeed responsible for this massive kill, then I'd like to see the information to support. I don't have any information other than that.
Now you can see more of my interview with Leo White. That's coming up in just a bit on Here and Now. Well, there is some good news tonight for hockey and basketball fans in St. John's. After a long and sometimes bitter negotiation, the city has reached a deal to keep the Newfoundland Growlers and the St. John's Edge at Mile 1 Centre. And the teams are in it for the long haul. Here now's Meg Roberts has been tracking this story for us today, and she joins us live. So Meg, what do we know about this deal?
This is a 10-year lease agreement, according to the Growlers owner. This is the longest lease the city has ever signed with a sports team. Now, this comes after months of back and forth between the two sides. Tensions between the parties mounted last week after they both announced press conferences and then canceled them. Today, all parties are saying they're pleased with the agreement. They said they wanted a long-term lease because it gives them time to build and grow.
We're delighted. It gives us a long runway that fans can now invest in the team, allows us as teams to invest in the city because we want to have retail presence, offices, etc. It's been tough doing it on a year-to-year basis. So look, I couldn't be more delighted.
It seemed like there was always a battle about, fans saying, is the team going to be here? Are they going to be able to last here? Are they going to be here next year? And I think certainty is important, and I think is important not only for the business, not only for the city, but it's important for the fans to know what they're supporting.
This will come at a cost to taxpayers. It increases the subsidy to St. John's Sports and Entertainment. That's the group that controls Mile 1 by more than $200,000 each year. But the city is looking for ways to recover some of those costs and is hoping to bring more people to the stadium. Now, the mayor said that the lawyers are just finalizing some details, and he's hoping that both sides sign that contract as soon as possible. Reporting live in St. John's, I'm Meg Roberts for Here and Now.
Well, it's been a wet day across the island. You can see all those showers. We saw some heavy showers move through a little bit earlier for the metro area. If we take a look at the amount of rain that's fallen since yesterday, 41 in Port aux Basques, 44 millimeters in Burgeo, 36 for St. Lawrence. St. John's has seen close to 18 millimeters of rain so far. No surprise that we have rainfall warnings again continuing along the south coast. There's more rain on the way tonight. I'll have all the details coming up.
Thanks, Ashley. A man is dead after a house fire in Bonavista last night. Police responded to a call just before 8:30. When officers arrived on the scene, firefighters were already there. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The cause of the house fire is not yet known. Well, Stephenville's only tugboat is underwater tonight. The Omni Saint Laurent was docked at the port when it sank Monday evening. Ed Strickland is part owner of the boat. He told the CBC the vessel passed Transport Canada inspection in June. Strickland says the priority now is protecting the surrounding environment. He's getting help from local businesses to pump out the boat to bring it back above water. Police in Holyrood say they've received 2 separate reports about a man in a car acting suspiciously around children. On Sunday, RCMP had a complaint about a dark-colored vehicle circling in the Green Acres area near children. And just a few days earlier, police heard about a man in a black car who tried to lure 2 boys on Country Path Road. Police are asking anyone with information to get in touch with them. The RNC announced a new partnership today that aims at better assisting vulnerable people. They're teaming up with Medic Alert, meaning first responders will have access to patient profiles. The bracelet program assists people with autism, Alzheimer's, dementia, mental health issues, and cognitive brain injuries. Access to the Medic Alert database will give officers insights into the person's history, including anxiety triggers and potential de-escalation techniques.
There have been incidents where members have gone to calls or have arrived at scenes and mistaken, what they see in front of them as being a medical issue with perhaps, an impaired issue.
Our seniors need more compassion, more respect, according to a new report. The province's senior advocate says many seniors in this province are concerned about ageist attitudes. Here now, Cecil Hare has the details.
The province's first seniors advocate has filed her first report on what life is like for seniors in Newfoundland and Labrador, and she's got some concerns. About 20% of the population is 65 and over. That's about 108,000 people, and they have differences. Some feel worried that they'll be marginalized, and then there's the poverty problem.
About 11,000 single men and women over the age of 65 who have income between $18,000 and $24,000 a year. So close your eyes and tomorrow wake up and that's what you got coming in.
That means health care often goes by the wayside. People put off dental, hearing, and vision care unless covered by insurance or government assistance.
I actually have had a woman come to me after a 50-plus federation session, and she brought me her dentures on her hand. And she showed me her broken dentures and how she just did not have the financial resources to get them repaired. That is shameful.
Housing is another issue, with some seniors living in squalor, couch surfing, or homeless. And long-term care isn't what it's cracked up to be either. She says some families are too afraid to voice their concerns about care for fear of how their loved ones may be treated.
It is extremely concerning that far too many families feel unable to speak about the issues with staff and management for fear of being labeled a troubled family, which may lead to even more problems and the possible repercussions towards their loved one.
Advocates for seniors' rights who've lobbied in this province say, finally.
We're really pleased to have been here today, and we thank her for her report because it verifies what the various organizations who are present here today have been saying for so many years.
Break's report to government also includes a list of actions. To name a few, more geriatric specialists and better benefits like free vaccines and improved hearing, visual, and dental plans for low-income seniors. She's also recommending a review of the province's long-term care and personal care homes. Cease Hare, CBC News, St. John's.
Bishop's College closed 4 years ago, but now something new is in the works. What's coming to this former St. John's High School and its sister school Booth? I'll tell you what I know, coming up.
Well, it's a way to meet people and get your blood pumping. And let's check in with Carolyn Stokes, who's at a dance class tonight. Carolyn,
new program.
I hope
that
you
plays
are
tunes.
A whole lot better dancer than I am, because it would not be pretty if I was out there tonight.
You know, be in the middle, in the middle.
I'm not, to be honest, but I have to say I'm kind of feeling the beat here tonight. I'm at St. Augustine's Church in St. John's, and you know, the fall semester is in full swing, and so is Munn's ballroom dance class. That's where I am right now, and it's a pretty good time. Lots of different moves being taught, and I have the instructor here with me. This is Jim Russell. So Jim, tell us what's going on here tonight.
All right, so this is the Munn Ballroom Latin Dance Club, and it's a social dance club on campus made of students, faculty, staff, their partners, people who were alumni, people who've danced before and are not dancing anymore, or not in school anymore. That's the biggest thing.
So it's a wide variety
It's
of
a
people
wide variety.
here
You see,
tonight.
there's people here. We are, now that it's the year 2000, have our first, it's the year 2019, so we have our first Munn students coming to school that were not born in the 1900s.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
So that hurts a few heads.
Okay. And so what's bringing people here tonight?
Believe it or not, a lot of people come here to learn English.
Oh, interesting.
Right? Because they practice their English in the process of learning how to talk to the different humans.
So these are Munn foreign students who are just beginning the semester. They don't know a lot of people.
They don't know a lot of people. A lot of
Don't
them don't
know
even
the
speak
language.
English before they came here. I don't know why they come, but heck.
And so what else do people come here for? I mean, it's certainly, even if you've been living here all your life,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there are a lot of good reasons to come.
A lot of the time, it's a reason to get out of the house. In particular, what we say when you're studying at the university, if you take some physical activity, yoga or this or that or anything at all, in particular dance is what I like to say, is if you do physical activity for 1 hour, it gets your blood pumping, and then that makes your brain go. So if you're having one of those days where you're studying, like, I don't want to be here, I don't want to do anything, you do a dance class for 1 hour, you're good to go for like 4 more hours of studying after that.
Right.
So it's literally, this helps people in school.
And what are some of the moves being taught here tonight?
Right.
What's this dance specifically?
We're doing the Dominican Republic dance called the merengue right now, which is a, well, it's a vacation dance, I call it. People go on vacation, they learn how to do this, and then they come back here. So we have a whole lot of people come from all over the world to come to school now, and we acquire more dances, more people come.
Right. Okay. Can you teach me?
I can totally teach you. In particular for the...
I mean, they say dance like no one's watching, but I know
But
a whole lot
everybody's
of people
watching right
are,
now.
so be gentle, okay?
So you notice I'm putting 2 hands on the bottom, you're going on top.
Yep.
All right. So the rule in particular is I'm going to make you step onto this foot over here.
Okay.
So we're going to go 1, 2. And that's why it's not so bad.
That's all right. I can handle
It's
it.
all good?
Yep. Yep.
So now I'm going to raise one hand and you're just going to walk around the circle. And I put out this hand, that just means you're going to come back to me.
Okay.
How's that?
Oh, that's not bad.
And we're still on the same foot,
so
like
we're
we're not.
doing the merengue.
We're doing the merengue. This is the
Okay.
basics of what we teach people in week 1.
So this is for anyone. Beginners can do
Absolutely.
this. No skill level
The
required.
oldest person I've taught is 98 years old.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. No 100-year-olds yet. Bring it.
Yeah. Okay, so what else? Show me some other
All right,
moves.
so in particular, the one that we're doing tonight is I'm going to go like this, and we're going to walk around the circle,
Yeah.
and then I'm going to switch sides. And we're going to walk around the circle this way. In particular, I'm going to take the hand that's around you, and I'm going to bring it over your head, and now I'm going to make you walk backwards.
Okay.
And then let you out. How was that?
That's good.
Good?
That's not bad,
But the
actually.
thing is, as long as you can do it to the music. The music is the equalizer for everybody. It's
You
a
need to be-
conversation. You need to be.
Right. All right. Well, let's you and I continue doing this, and a bit later on, we're going to speak with some of the variety of students here
a variety
tonight.
of people that are here to help.
People to talk to, and so that's when we come back a bit later in the show. Reporting live, I'm Carolyn Stokes for Here and Now. Yeah. This is not as hard as I thought it was going to be.
That's the whole point of this. Is it's not hard at all.
Okay.
Yeah. So if I go this.
Welcome back to Here and Now. I was pretty impressed with Carolyn's moves there. You know, if we ever have an NL Dancing with the Stars, I'll have to nominate her. But looks like the temperatures today were kind of limboing under seasonal temperatures.
Good one.
Is it going to warm up at all? What are we looking at?
Not really. Depending on where you are, yes. But this heavy rain, is really keeping temperatures quite cool across the board. Take a look at what we saw as highs. Actually, we've been sitting around 9 degrees for most of the day. That temperature just jumped up within the last 5 minutes of looking at this board for me. Sitting around 10 degrees for Badger, hovering around 8 is your daytime high. Twillingate, same thing. A little bit warmer towards the south coast and then up through Labrador. Makkovik, actually the hot spot at 14 degrees, and that's tied with both Churchill Falls and Cartwright this afternoon. Those temperatures are still sitting pretty similar. We are seeing, again, those warmer temperatures down through Burgeo sitting around 13 degrees, but we are seeing lots of rain, heavy rain at times along the south coast, even parts of the Avalon seeing some heavy rain. I showed you this graphic a little bit earlier. 41 millimeters has fallen in Port aux Basques. Added Millitown to that, sitting at 29 millimeters of rain so far, and close to 18 millimeters for St. John's. Now, that rain will continue as we head through the night tonight. You can see some more heavy rain even along the south coast. So we're tapping into some of that moisture from Jerry, and that's going to continue through at least the first half of tomorrow for most of the island. And then we should start to see some clearing breaks into tomorrow afternoon, mainly for the west coast. But we do still have those rainfall warnings in place all along the south coast, with upwards of potentially another 50 millimeters of rain for parts of the south coast. So here's your temperatures: 11 degrees for Port aux Basques, 12 for Corner Brook, and the temperature is going to actually continue to rise through the night for St. John's. Should sit around 12 degrees overnight tonight, with those winds out of the southeast 30 to 50 kilometers per hour. Up through Labrador, a little bit warmer than we saw yesterday, but generally just increasing cloud for most of the big land. Happy Valley Goose Bay sitting around 6 degrees. Clear skies for Lab City. You'll see those clouds move in by morning, and then those winds generally light, 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. So let's look at that low. It does pull away, so we should see either just cloudy skies through the day or a few peaks of sun for the west coast. Now we do get back into that northerly flow or northeasterly flow, so likely going to see some showers through the afternoon and continue into the evening as that continues to pull further away. But again, likely some drizzle and fog sticking around. Now that rain will move in for Lab West and then continue to spread towards central and northern portions of the big land by the time tomorrow night rolls around. So here's the amount of precip that we're expecting by tomorrow morning. So you can see somewhere between 30 to 50 millimeters looks like the best bet for the south coast. Otherwise, we're looking at about 10 to 30 millimeters everywhere else. And then through the day tomorrow, we're going to add to that, but likely tapering to showers through the afternoon. Then we start to see that rain move in through Labrador as well. So temperatures a little warmer than today by a couple of degrees in some areas, mainly for the south. So 16 degrees for Marystown. Again, Harbour Breton, same thing. Grand Falls winds are still hovering around the teens. And then those warmer temperatures towards Stephenville. 17 degrees should be the afternoon high, with the sun peeking out at times into the afternoon. Still going to hang on to those single-digit temperatures for St. Anthony and 9 degrees. And then sunshine for parts, mainly the coast, 14 degrees for Makkovik, so another beautiful afternoon expected. Then we get into some of that cooler air for Lab City, and it looks like some even cooler air is moving in as we head towards the weekend, but I'll have all the details coming up.
Something to look forward to. Thanks, Ashley. Well, she's a small business owner, and she's going on strike. A woman in Corner Brook is joining a global movement this week. She closed her online store to send a message. Here now's Troy Turner explains why.
Michaela Wilson is as busy as ever, making soaps, bath oils, and other toiletries right here in her own kitchen. But this week, she won't be selling any of these. She's on strike. Her small business, the Natura Soap Company, isn't filling any orders this week, nor is it posting to social media. Wilson is joining thousands around the world in a climate strike. Here in Canada, students are taking to the streets to protest what they are calling the greatest challenge we have ever faced.
The thing that we're all fighting for is kind of an important thing, the whole well-being of the climate. And there's no denying at this point that the climate's going to pot. And so if the climate goes down and degrades as much as everyone's worried it's gonna, it doesn't matter what kind of business I have anyways, because there's not going to be any place for it. There's not going to be any world left.
Businesses across the country are taking part in the strike, but most for only one day. Since her business is smaller, Wilson says she needs to make a bigger statement to get noticed. She's hoping larger businesses and policymakers will also take action.
From an individual level, it's all fine and good to try to go zero waste and try to be as environmentally conscious as you can. But even if every single person did that, it's still not enough, unfortunately. You know, you look at the amount of garbage in the dumps around the world, and in Canada, 90% of that garbage is from construction. So what's an individual going to do about that?
a visit to Natura's website and you'll see this screen which says loud and clear, there's a climate strike in place. But this is not the only thing that Michaela Wilson is doing or has done for the environment. Last year, she gave up on all plastic packaging on all her products. And hopefully in the near future, what she's doing is trying to give up on packaging for some things altogether. That in addition to another initiative where she hopes to give some profits to an environmental nonprofit organization. Troy Turner, CBC News, Corner Brook.
Well, I am live dancing and Latin class, and cameraman Teddy Dillon and I are having a little bit of a go here on the dance floor, learning a few moves, trying anyways. Coming up on here now, we'll speak with some of the students here tonight. Back to Here and Now. I am at St. Augustine's Church in St. John's, right next door to Memorial University, and this is Munn's Ballroom and Latin dance class. Behind me you can see students, alumni, all kinds of people, all kinds of ages, beginners here to learn a few dance moves. I've been learning a couple myself, actually. Not much of a dancer, but I can learn. So let's come over and have a chat with some of the folks who are taking part. Hi, guys. What's your name?
My name is Joan.
What's your name?
My name is Ottilia.
Okay, so tell me a bit about yourself.
Oh yes, so I came from China and I moved here in Newfoundland for my master's degree 3 years ago. I just started dancing last summer and found it was so awesome in this club.
Oh, so you have a bit of experience?
Yes, and now that's why I'm wearing the blue shirts and hope I could now teach people how to dance it, how to enjoy it.
Okay, so why are you so interested in coming out to this dance class? What do you get out of it?
Yeah, from my previous experience, I don't get too much chance to do like social dance with people. So I moved here where I found it's a great place to communicate people, to make new friends, and also to enjoy the great music in here. All the people are so friendly and so great to help each other.
Oh, great. And so why are you here today?
I'm here because I love dancing. It's one of my big hobbies, and I do dance outside, but I like to learn the right steps, and I think this class is one of the best.
It seems very social.
Very social, yes.
So can you show me some of the moves that you're learning here tonight? What's this called?
This is called Moringue.
Moringue. Okay, that's what Jim showed me earlier in the show. Okay. I like the Moringue. Beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. Have fun. We're going to come over here, Teddy, and let's have a chat with a couple of other people. Hi, ladies. What kind of dance are you doing here?
Merengue.
Oh, merengue as well. Can you show me a few of your moves? Nice. This is really good exercise, eh?
Yeah. It really is. It's especially after a long day of school. This is really fulfilling.
So why do you come to this class?
I come to this class as a break from all the stress at school and university with all the assignments and the tests that are going on. This is so much fun. You get to socialize with a lot of people, meet new friends. So yeah, that's pretty much why I'm doing the class.
And what about you? What's your name?
I'm Regina. I come to this class and I have passion for dance and it's a good break from school. So I always come and have fun with some friends.
So you're a Munn student. What are you doing at Munn?
I used to go to Munn. I'm going to CNA now. Yeah, I'm doing early childhood.
And what do you think about all the people here? I look around this room and it's all ages, really.
Yeah, I've been with the club for almost 7 years now. So seeing a lot of people in the club, it's really nice to see the club keep growing and a lot of people enjoying the dance.
Okay, so can you guys just show me something else? Show me another move. Awesome. This is a lot of fun, and very invigorating. And speaking of reinvigorating, an old St. John's High School is getting a new life. Bishop's College closed in 2015, and now with all the students out, the seniors are moving in. Here now's Katie Breen has that story.
Welcome to Bishop's Garden. This is what it'll eventually look like, but there's still a long ways to go. Inside, the complex will have an 82-unit personal care home and 19 independent seniors' apartments.
If you can envision it, this brick wall ends where the personal care home is. There will be a big set of double doors, and as we enter through here, we enter the apartment side of the building.
Seniors can live here on their own, or if one partner needs more care than the other, developers say the apartments can help keep couples together. They can both move in and get customized help. There will be different add-on packages like home care and housekeeping services, and there's also an option for reprieve.
So you come in through here, and this is the old gymnasium at Bishop's College, which will house a number of things, our adult day club program, as well as a gerontology outpatient clinic.
The old gym is being turned into what they're calling an adult day club. There will be a doctor's office, a place for socializing, and a space for people with cognitive issues. People can go regularly Monday to Friday, or just drop in. It'll be open to the public. There's room for about 100 people.
The conventional restrictions that exist in a personal care home, providing care from level 1 through enhanced, don't necessarily apply because it's a private part of the business. We think that there's all sorts of folk in the community who just don't quite fit into the mold of long-term care or personal care, and this can help accommodate them.
The personal care home side of the business will be its own contained piece. Former classrooms are being converted into about 2 units each, and residents will have their own communal spaces and activities. They won't go to day club. Pennacon Realty, now known as Fort Amherst Properties, bought Bishop's and this former high school booth for $1.2 million each last year. Now, the company wouldn't say what exactly its plans are for this building, but it said if the Bishop's model works, something complimentary could be coming here. Katie Breen, CBC News, St. John's.
Our organization has been calling for public transparency and public oversight and public involvement in the regulation of this industry ever since we formed back in 2016.
The provincial government unveiled new rules today to make the aquaculture industry more transparent, but one group says the public needs more information about a massive fish die-off on the south coast. Welcome back to Here and Now. As you heard on the show this week, hundreds of thousands of salmon died on the southwest coast of the island. The company says warm water is to blame, but NL Carr has questions. They're a group that lobbies for better regulation of the aquaculture industry, and they're casting doubt on what really caused those salmon deaths.
Brought this to the attention of some people in the media well over a week ago. We knew that there was something really fishy going on down there, and it wasn't a surprise at all. So we were grateful that the FFAW did manage to bring it to the media's attention, and get something out to the public finally by yesterday.
Now, you're raising some questions about what actually caused this death. The company insists that this was water temperatures, it was not disease. What concerns do you have?
Well, if you just think about it from a commonsensical point of view, south coast of Newfoundland is not a warm place at the best of times. There were no indications that we had unusually warm weather or warm sea temperatures down there this spring and summer. We have salmon farms in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick that have warmer temperatures than we do normally, and there were no similar kills up there, so you just put two and two together and wonder. Now, there could be interrelated reasons, like high temperatures could lead to more sea lice infestations. It could lead to a bigger presence of pathogens for disease, so there could be interrelated factors. But warm temperatures in themselves hardly would seem to be the reason. Plus, you know, there are salmon farms operating in places like Tasmania and Chile that have much more benign ocean temperatures than we do.
But do you actually have any evidence that the company's wrong here? Because both the government and the company here seem pretty adamant that this was the cause.
Yeah, I'd love to know where you could get some evidence. In my news release, I did refer to the fact that we should hear from the provincial veterinarians. We should hear from the federal and provincial regulators. You know, if there is evidence there that we've had warmer temperatures than normal and that they are indeed responsible for this massive kill, then I'd like to see the information to support. I don't have any information other than that.
We saw Jerry Byrne, the minister responsible for this area, address some of those concerns that you've raised around the fact that this wasn't made public, saying that companies are going to have to report these sorts of incidences publicly within 24 hours. What do you make of that? Do you think this is going to improve the public's knowledge of situations like this?
Well, first of all, I welcome it. You know, I think it's a good idea for Minister Byrne to do that. I don't know how much of it is driven by the fact that there's a big conference on aquaculture going on here now, you know, and it's good to get something positive out there to counteract some of this. But our organization has been calling for public transparency and public oversight and public involvement in the regulation of this industry ever since we formed back in 2016, and we've gotten nowhere. Now, the minister did say that his decision to do this was based on public consultation. Well, I'd like to know who he consulted with. He certainly didn't consult with us.
Well, thank you very much for speaking with me and sharing your concerns today.
All right.
Well, looking now at international news, he's trying to tamp down the fires of impeachment. And today, the White House released the summary of a controversial call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. The document confirms that Trump asked Zelensky for, quote, a favor to investigate his main political rival, Joe Biden.
The letter was a great letter, meaning the letter revealing the call. That was done at the insistence of myself and other people that read it. It was a friendly letter. There was no pressure.
The phone call summary quotes Trump saying, there's a lot of talk about Biden's son, that Biden stopped the prosecution, and a lot of people want to find out about that. So whatever you can do with the Attorney General would be great. Biden went around bragging that he stopped the prosecution, so if you can look into it, it sounds horrible to me. One Democratic congressman compared Trump's conversation to a mafia shakedown. Yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced formal impeachment proceedings will begin. British MPs returned to the House of Commons today, a day after the country's top court found Boris Johnson acted unlawfully when he suspended Parliament. Many critics expected or hoped he would fold. Instead, the embattled British Prime Minister came out swinging. The CBC's Cameron McIntosh has more from London.
As MPs return to Westminster, the signs of division tearing at this country return too.
Order!
From the Speaker's trademark call to order, fireworks. The opposition bolstered by a court finding the Prime Minister acted unlawfully, suspending Parliament, avoiding scrutiny over Brexit. The government countered the opposition and the former Tory MPs backing it are blocking the will of the people. It went on like that for hours as Prime Minister Boris Johnson was cloistered at 10 Downing Street. Emerging in Parliament early this evening, challenging the opposition to take down his government with a vote of non-confidence.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we will not betray the people who sent us here. We will not. That's what they want to do. We will not abandon the priorities that matter to the public. And we will continue to challenge those opposition parties to uphold democracy. If honourable and right honourable members opposite so disagreed with this government's commitment to leaving on October the 31st, they had a very simple remedy at their disposal, did they not? They could have voted for a general election.
Now, Johnson is framing this as Boris and the people versus the political establishment. Leading in the polls, he wants an election, but the opposition won't go for it unless Johnson agrees to extend the deadline for a Brexit deal. He's refusing, so there's the deadlock.
I want to make sure we come out of the EU. I'm demonstrating. I want to get that lot to understand we are leaving the EU.
The whole Brexit thing is a massive distraction from what's really going wrong in this country.
Most of the problems are actually down to our own political system.
Meanwhile, Johnson insists he's making progress on a new Brexit deal. Parliament can hold him to greater scrutiny. And the British Parliament is back, deadlocked as ever, with just 5 weeks to go until the Brexit deadline. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, London.
Well, back to politics in this country and to the campaign trail today. The Green Party released a fully costed election platform. The Liberals promised interest-free loans to make your home greener, and the Conservatives pledged tax credits for home renovations. What about the NDP? Well, they promised housing help for British Columbia. The NDP's Jagmeet Singh said he would introduce a national foreign home buyers tax on top of the provincial one to help cool down the hot housing market. Also in BC, Liberal leader Justin Trudeau promised a low-cost national flood insurance program to help homeowners in high-risk flood zones without adequate insurance. In Quebec, Conservative leader Andrew Scheer promised a tax credit for homeowners who retrofit their homes to reduce energy consumption. And there's Elizabeth May. She says she'll pay for a national pharmacare plan as well as free post-secondary tuition by raising the corporate tax rate, canceling fossil fuel subsidies, and closing tax havens.
You just get that call that changes your life forever.
That's when they told me that she had meningitis.
This is My Story, a special series on Here and Now.
Well, I heard I was a diabetic with no pills, and the third day I said, well, what am I going to do?
She accepted the DNA and she started to generate her own blood cells, and it was amazing.
We're checking back in with people who have faced some major life challenges to see where they are today.
I'm looking towards going back to school and finish my book I'm writing.
He definitely don't pick bacon.
No, I don't go picking berries anymore.
More segments airing this fall on Here and Now.
And this is my story.
Welcome back to Here and Now, and today was a good day for ducks, as they say. Pretty wet at least across the island? Is it going to be a better day for humans tomorrow?
We're still going to see the chance of showers. We switched to a northeast flow, so that's never a good sign. Yeah, we'll take a look at the forecast just one more time for tomorrow. So you can see we'll likely see some drizzle and continue to see that fog along the northeast coast. Temperatures a little better than yesterday, sitting around 12 degrees for St. John's. And then some warmer temperatures along the south coast as well, 16 degrees for Marystown. Same for Corner Brook. We may see the sun peek out at times into the afternoon, and same for Burgeo at 16 degrees. Up through Labrador, though, a lovely afternoon for Makkovik. Should sit around 14 degrees. We'll see some rain move in for Lab City in the early morning hours, and then that will spread towards Happy Valley Goose Bay into the evening hours as well. 13 degrees should be the daytime high for you. Now looking ahead, here's that rain that's going to move in, so that's going to continue to track further towards the coast. Some heavy rain at times as well. By the time Friday morning rolls around, heading into the Straits more than likely, and then we'll see another round of showers move through Friday afternoon as we see another system move in, and that will continue through the night, and then we'll see potentially some clearing into Saturday afternoon for parts of the island. So here's a look at the forecast for Friday. Now those temperatures are going to climb a little bit more, just by a degree or two, sitting in the teens for most of us with that chance of showers. Happy Valley Goose Bay 12 degrees, and Lab City going to hang on to these cooler temperatures, only sitting in the single digits with mainly cloudy skies and 8 degrees. Now looking ahead, we are going to stick with the gray skies for the most part. Now temperatures will likely hover in the teens, going down to the low teens by the time the weekend rolls around. May see a few peaks of sun on Saturday afternoon. Otherwise, it does look gray for both Sunday and Monday, with that temperature dipping into the single digits by the time next week rolls around. For central Newfoundland, I do have the sun icon in there for Saturday, but again, that chance of showers, 15 degrees. By Monday, dipping down to 7, and the overnight lows will be sticking in the single digits for you into next week. So Western Newfoundland, you're looking at a generally gray couple of days, 14 degrees for Friday, and then down to about 11 for both Saturday and Sunday. Again, those overnight lows slowly dropping as we head into the beginning of next week with a temperature near 8 degrees. Now for Labrador, eastern portions anyway, going to see generally teen temperatures right through Saturday, dipping into the single digits on Sunday, but Monday does look like we should see some sunshine and 7 degrees. And here's Western Labrador. Now 9 degrees tomorrow. By Sunday, it does look like we do have the potential for some white stuff in the forecast, unfortunately, as we head towards the evening hours. Look at these overnight lows, -2, -3 on Monday. So this could be the first flakes that we see for the fall for sure, but definitely have a couple of days to look over that. But yeah, so overall, not too bad. I'll have your weather photo when we come back.
Thanks, Ashley. Well, we want to take you now from the short-term weather forecast to some longer-term climate concerns. Sea levels are rising at a faster rate than before. That's according to a new report from the United Nations Climate Change Panel. Scientists call the consequences for nature and humanity sweeping and severe. As Kayla Hounsell tells us, some Canadians are already seeing that firsthand.
The ocean is already warmer and more acidic than ever before, according to more than 100 scientists.
2 degrees kills the oceans. We're going to be
first to know.
3 generations of fishermen. The Beatons have been fishing out of Ballantyne's Cove, Nova Scotia for nearly 50 years. Together, they've noticed some changes.
Probably the biggest single change that I would see is the lack of ice coverage that we used to get. From 71, the first 19 or so years that I fished, we had ice delays 13 or 14 years.
And then so Gordon and Dylan, how does that compare to what you see and experience now?
Yeah, probably my first 10 or 15 years, it was a little less than half. Would be delayed some period of time.
I feel like I can only really think of a couple.
The new UN report focuses on the impact of global warming on oceans and the cryosphere. That's the frozen part of the planet. Snow, glaciers, icebergs, and sea ice that are melting.
Over the next 80 years, so to the end of this century, we're expecting more than 1 meter of sea level rise, and it could be in excess of that too.
That means more intense storms, high tides, and floods. The report also states that since 1993, the rate of ocean warming has likely more than doubled. Experts say those warming waters will kill off 17% of marine life in waters worldwide by the end of the century. Right now, the Maritime lobster fishery is stronger than ever as the crustaceans flock north looking for cooler water. But bait like herring and mackerel are already under duress.
If those kind of lower, bait fish or lower on the food chain fish can't survive, then the whole thing's over anyway.
They believe the fishery can be sustained, but it will require constant adapting to the changing climate. Kayla Hounsell, CBC News, Ballantyne's Cove, Nova Scotia.
Well, a warning tonight for tea drinkers. A new study from McGill University suggests some tea bags, specifically the silky ones used with some fancier teas, could be releasing microplastics into your brew.
We were actually expecting to see maybe just a few particles of plastic being released from these plastic tea bags into the water, but we were really shocked when we saw that the tea bags were actually releasing billions of plastic particles into a cup of tea.
Now, some of those silky tea bags that are often pyramid-shaped are made with nylon and a type of plastic resin, all approved as food packaging. The study found they only release the billions of tiny microplastics and smaller nanoplastic particles when steeped in hot water. But that's far more than have been found in other food and beverages. Scientists do not know if microplastics cause a health risk.
I want to know where you're to. This photo was sent to us by Ellen Keith. A little bit of a hint, it's the view from a floating hotel. I'll tell you where this was taken when we come back.
Welcome back to Here and Now. It was a sticky situation for a driver in Australia who couldn't quite believe what she was seeing.
You know, we've got to save the bees, so anything you can do, turn your little car into a bee sanctuary, whatever it takes.
Well, this is what was bugging her. A horde of bees swarmed her car in a downtown parking lot. In seconds, other drivers buzzed off, leaving the lot empty. Luckily, a beekeeper was hovering nearby and made a beeline for the bugs. The bees were likely just looking for a new hive, and a warm parked car seemed like the perfect spot. Oh, there you go. Going to a new home, somewhere a little more permanent, less mobile.
Yeah, it always it makes me so nervous seeing the bees like that. But when you're covered in a suit, you don't care. But when you're not covered in a suit, you never know.
There you go. So the viewer photo of the day, I got to admit, floating hotel, you had me stumped with this one.
It was a good clue if you know what it is, but this was taken in Voisey's Bay, and this is the view from the NV Blue Fort.
There you go. So where they're housing a whole bunch of workers.
That's right.
As they start the construction
That's
for
right.
underground.
Yeah, what a view to wake up to every morning.
Beautiful. Although those hills are probably going to have a little bit of white dusted on them in not very long time.
You've got that right, yeah. So Ellen Keefe sent us this great photo. Thank you so much for sending that in. And if you have any photos that you'd like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Also looks beautiful and clear and not pouring rain, which right now I think I'd be having to wipe off my lens a lot in order to get a weather photo today.
Yeah, just make sure when you're driving, just be a little safe. There's lots of water on the road.
Well, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We'll see you all tomorrow.
Good night.